Hello, lads. Welcome to another Three Losers and something. I don't know. We probably have come up with a name by now. But today we are going to be talking about how we see or look for God in everyday life. Now, when we talk about everyday life, we're talking about this horrible pandemic. So, yeah.
I think so. Now that I'm doing a lot more, like, I'm actually playing in less worship teams, but I'm doing it a little more consistently, and it's like a little different. So we're doing like worship recordings and stuff like that, which is cool. It's kind of like an untapped thing that I haven't done before. So like seeing God through like that worship setting opposed to like a live worship setting is definitely difficult, and sometimes because you're like, I'm just playing or singing to this camera, and like it's a little less involved, and it, like, I don't know, it literally feels like it's bouncing off the walls.
Literally.
I mean, it is. But so there's that. There's also kind of like, I don't get to see people's response, but like they get to see it at home with their kids and their family and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of cool to be able to have that potential, right? So like I don't get to see people's worship and their response, but it's like it's out there, and I get to be a part of that. So like that's a big part.
That's baller.
So it's weird, but it's nice.
I've definitely been forced to like trust God more. Everything's weird, and it's like I'm being forced to try all these new things, and like some of it is like changes and things that I should have been trying to begin with, but now I don't really have a choice if I want to keep doing what I'm doing. So I'm just kind of trusting God that like, this is what you're supposed to be doing, and like if it goes awry, then it's okay, and if it goes well, then you should remember this and remember that I used this time to teach you this,
Yeah.
And not to mention just like health and safety, like trusting God is, I can't imagine not being able to trust God through all this, having to cope with the state of things. I don't know. So just, it's like, where else am I going to put my trust,
Right.
Without having like an actual ministry to work with directly, like in person, it's like, oh, that's fascinating. But then not having the same students to work with, you're like, oh, like, how do I like show my love? How do I show my care that God is really like granting me? And then that goes to like a previous thing we talked about. It's like, oh, like how, like who's my neighbor now, right? Because for me, I see God a lot in relationships. I see God in the way I interact with people. And like that's been a huge blessing through like Scarlett, who's been like showing me a lot of God's love and grace in this time, because it's hard, right? Like, especially that we started a relationship a bit before this whole thing happened, but it's like, oh, how do we continue loving and caring for each other in the midst of all this uncertainty?